go, of course I'd jump at it. And it's Star Wars.
I'll do anything. I'll, you know, be a stormtrooper.
It was cool. It's Star Wars. Why wouldn't I want to try out?
I was just screaming, you know?
We're stepping into shoes in order to be another piece of this jigsaw puzzle that is Star Wars.
Tighten up with this camera, too. The characters were standing there, and it was Star Wars. I mean, it's just, we were back there.
The Force is back. Stay tuned as E gives a behind-the-scenes look at the summer's most anticipated movie, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. To Behind the Scenes, a 30-minute look at a galaxy far, far away in the sci-fi saga Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Writer-director George Lucas returns to the galaxy he dreamed into existence.
The new episode, Episode 1, starts 30-some-odd years before Episode 4, which was the original Star Wars. Ever since the success of Star Wars, decided I would go back and tell the backstory of how everybody got there, because it was kind of interesting when I wrote it, and I felt that it would be nice to complete the entire series and have it start from 1 to 6.
One of the central figures to help Lucas bring his vision to the screen is producer Rick McCallum.
The films are serials. They are designed ultimately to be seen as one big 12-hour film. And in that, there are sections and chapters that actually express the story of a family. And it takes the family through one generation onto the next generation and finally to the ultimate redemption from the prior generation.
Sort of starts like here.
You kind of start the movie on this huge foundation of faith and belief in all the people that you've got around you. And we spend a lot of time trying to cast those people because they are the guys that are actually going to make it happen for us.
Looks like George Lucas has assembled a formidable cast to become the foundation for Chapter 1 of the Star Wars saga.
In the beginning of the movie, the Trade Federation, which has blockaded the planet and has spaceships ringing the planet so that nobody can come and go, have cut off all communication with the outside world. There's speculation down below in the Queen's palace and her throne room of what this means. And one of the senators speculates that it means that they're going to invade the planet. But the idea of the Federation invading the planet is so far-fetched that they have a hard time believing that they would take that drastic move.
Communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
I will not condone a course of action that will lead us to war.
Natalie Portman is the young Queen Amidala, whose planet is under attack.
Well, she's the newly elected leader of the planet Naboo, and she's only 14. And so she doesn't want to get involved in war. She's peaceful. She really cares about her people, and she is kind of forced into battle because of all the evil people on the other side.
Our people are dying, Senator. We must do something quickly to stop the Federation.
She doesn't act for her own good and for her own quest for power. She really tries to do the best for her people.
It's familiar with it because it's the same elements, and, you know, it's the same world is what it is. And with new characters, you know, or younger characters. But it's great. It's the same kind of fairy tale characters, you know, that make it work so well.
Ewan McGregor has the privilege of portraying the younger version of Obi-Wan Kenobi, a character made famous by Sir Alec Guinness in the original Star Wars.
So I worked completely off Alec Guinness. I'm trying to, you know, work out a younger version of him and about who that would be and what he was like. So that was how I worked. That's how I went about it.
Don't center on your anxieties, Obi-Wan. Keep your concentration here and now where it belongs.
But Master Yoda said I should be mindful of the future.
But not at the expense of the moment. Be mindful of the living force, young Padawan.
Liam Neeson stars as a Jedi Master who is the mentor of the young Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I play a character called Qui-Gon Jinn. That sounds like a little mini poem. He's a Jedi Master who has an apprentice that is a young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and during the course of the story, I find this boy that will eventually become Darth Vader, and he's my charge. I take care of him. He can see things before they happen.
He can help you.
The Force is unusually strong with him.
Jake Lloyd portrays Anakin Skywalker, a young slave who dreams of becoming a Jedi Knight.
Anakin Skywalker is a lot like me in different ways, and he's also different. Like, for the fact that he's a slave, well, that's not really a different thing. My sister uses me as a slave. I'm scarred for life. Well, he builds pod racers. I can't even get to the go-karts. He's just a lot like me. He's really mechanical. He loves to tinker with stuff, and he's really he just knows what to do here and there, everywhere. He usually has a plan.
Qui-Gon already has plans for young Anakin.
I shall do what I must, Obi-Wan.
If you would just follow the code, you would be on the council. They will not go along with you this time.
You still have much to learn, my young apprentice.
Still to come, meet the creatures and humans who are about to take the universe by storm.
I just feel a bit like Jar Jar Binks.
Plus, see Natalie Portman don the crown of the Queen.
As long as it doesn't, like, give me a break.
Whenever you're ready, Jake.
Go.
Welcome back to Behind the Scenes, E's 30-minute look at Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
The central issue in the film is that a boy is taken from his mother, and that sort of drives everything.
Her name is Shmi Skywalker, and she's the mother of Anakin Skywalker. And she's a slave in Tatooine. Well, they're living there, and she's taking care of her son. And I like her very much. I think she's a brave mother and very mature in the way she's letting her son go.
You're coming with us, aren't you, Mom? Well, he thinks of his mom as like the only well, she's been the only person that's there for him for his entire life.
She really do believe in him, and that he's going to take the responsibility of his own life.
Will I ever see you again?
What does your heart tell you?
I hope so. Yes. I guess.
Then we'll see each other again.
I think he was kind of all right with going off and being a Jedi because, you know, he gets to travel, he gets to become a Jedi, he gets to save people.
The boy will not pass the council's test, Master. He's too old.
Anakin will become a Jedi, I promise you.
Do not defy the council, Master, not again.
I shall do what I must, Obi-Wan.
Qui-Gon must go before Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson, as well as the other members of the Jedi Council, to speak on Anakin's behalf.
Mace Windu, he's, I guess, co-head of the Jedi Council with Yoda. And basically, in this particular film, we are looking at Anakin, assessing him for candidacy to be a Jedi or to be trained as a Jedi.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
I don't presume to.
But you do. Revealed your opinion is.
There are also a few familiar faces in The Phantom Menace.
We're going to tighten up on Yoda, right? And then we'll tighten up on Sam.
And Queen Amidala is returning home, which will put pressure on the Federation and could widen the confrontation.
And roll out the Queen's attacker.
But that's moving fast.
Hey, Yoda's the man, or whatever he is. Like most people, I thought that I was going to show up on set and there would be this thing there and I'd just do these scenes and they put them in later. But actually what happens is the things that you see on screen, we actually did together.
Speaking of out-of-this-galaxy creatures, meet a clumsy, amphibious creature known as Jar Jar Binks.
You hear that?
Yeah?
That is the sound of 1,000 terrible things heading this way.
If they find us, they will crush us, grind us into tiny pieces, and blast us into oblivion.
Ah. Your support is welcome.
This is really going out on a limb because there's never been a real comic character in any of the Star Wars movies, like just outright comic. C-3PO was funny, but he was very straight and dry. And this is the first time that they had an outright funny character.
I would say the most difficult thing was really to create Jar Jar and make him believable and make him fit into the film so you weren't constantly aware that he was an animated character.
Ahmed Best, who plays Jar Jar, in fact, was there. So we played with Ahmed Best, who's just, it's a funny thing, he's the one character, he was there with us all the time, playing Jar Jar. And sometimes they computer generate his head onto Ahmed's body, you know, because he was wearing a costume. Other times they computer generate the whole character. But he was there, and he was like the life force of the set, Ahmed, because he was such a wonderful guy and made us all laugh a lot. So it wasn't like working with nobody because Ahmed was there.
Well, it makes sense because you need an actor. You always need, even the digital characters are actors. Ahmed plays Jar Jar, and he's the actor who's the voice, and he was on the set, and he was playing with the other actors. The actors have to have somebody to play with, play against, and so you'll always need an actor, and then with somebody like Jar Jar, you have an animator who's also an actor, so you'll end up out here.
Still to come, see the Star Wars cast make an intergalactic fashion statement.
I have very scrupulously avoided fashion in the other movies.
Oh, gosh. I wish that wasn't stationary.
Welcome back to Behind the Scenes, E's inside look at George Lucas's Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Okay, cut.
Fans will be surprised to know that George Lucas tried his hand at fashion designing when he teamed up with costume designer Tricia Bigger.
On the first films, I purposely avoided very intense design cultures because I had enough to do without trying to come up with something that would be timeless. So I kept the costumes very, very simple, and the costumes were designed not to draw attention to themselves. In the new film, the costumes do draw attention to themselves. They have to because they're in a more sophisticated society. To do that and keep it timeless is much more difficult.
At our busiest, we were using maybe 50, 60 people just in the costume department. I think we made well over 1,000 costumes. In fact, we made everything, really, that's seen, everything, hats, helmets, costumes, so huge, huge amounts.
This is where we're going to get killed the most, or I'm going to get killed. I have very scrupulously avoided fashion in the other movies. I made the Princess Leia, very, very simple, just completely simple. No design, no fashion, no nothing. This time we're walking right into a fashion statement. Tricia is very good at bringing in antique cloths, various kinds of weights of cloth that would move different ways when they were layered on top of each other, things that I hadn't had a lot of experience with. And so I learned a great deal from Tricia about that whole aspect of fashion design that I enjoyed playing with.
Natalie Portman makes a splash as the geisha-faced queen in royal regalia.
It definitely has influences of kabuki in the design of the costume and the hair and makeup style, and they looked a lot. The people who sketched the initial storyboards looked a lot to ancient civilizations like the Chinese and Japanese cultures to come up with a lot of the ideas. It was about 2 to 2.5 hours in hair and makeup, and the costumes were really elaborate, but they were pretty easy to get in and out of. And it was really wonderful because it really helped me get into my character for the Queen because it was so, grand and elaborate, the costumes and the hair and everything, that it really made me, change the way I walked and the way I moved my head and the way I felt, personally, and it really changes the way you walk into a room.
It seems extremely appropriate that when you have a queen that she would be changing outfits. The film takes place over a period of time, And somebody of that stature would automatically be changing her costumes to fit the occasion.
There's so many changes for me because a queen can't wear the same outfit twice. But it's good for like the effect of the film, as long as it doesn't like give me brain damage or anything. I'm all for it. They were not comfortable. They were very heavy, but it really did help the character, and I think it makes a very striking look for the queen.
The first time I put my costume on was the first morning filming. Was quite a big deal, getting dressed up, and because it's the first time I'd done it. You know, we'd gone through fittings or whatever, but the first time I'd donned my Jedi costume, if you like, and that was cool. Yeah, that was good.
The hippest thing for me was, you know, walking into my dressing room. That was my Jedi outfit. I kind of put it on, and I stood in the mirror and kind of like, yeah.
I just think they're great costumes. I think Ewan looks fantastic in his.
You look good in yours.
What do I look?
You look fantastic.
Still to come, composer John Williams reprises his role to make a timeless theme new again.
In the thing, what you're doing is you're doing this move, you're jumping up and coming
Welcome back to Behind the Scenes of Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Senator, this is your arena. I feel I must return to mine. I've decided to go back to Naboo.
Go back? But Your Majesty, be realistic. They'll force you to sign the treaty.
I will sign no treaty, Senator. My fate will be no different than that of our people.
1, 2, 3.
This extraordinary saga wouldn't be complete without the musical score of composer John Williams.
On the original films, I was looking for somebody who really understood classical movie scoring in the tradition of Korngold and Bernard Herrmann and, you know, the greats of the 30s and 40s and 50s. And I was talking to Steve Spielberg about it, and he had worked with Johnny on Jaws and said, you know, this is the man for you. He's perfect. He really understands that medium. And once I met him and talked to him, that was that. And once I worked with him on Star Wars, you know, I wouldn't have anybody else doing it.
I've been I think, uniquely fortunate in having the opportunity to do these films and to, as I've said before, sort of continue to accompany George on this great journey that he's on, which seems now to be a life's work journey with George Lucas.
Then it goes from that into religioso force scene, actually. This has to be something that kind of says, we're fighting back now. But I think we need to keep that kind of fighting back theme going to keep the energy up. Johnny has a very keen sense of the emotional quality of music and how to use that emotional quality.
So. That's better.
It's a wonderful piece of music with the choir and the whole. It's very operatic and very much like Star Wars.
These movies are so entertaining and people love them, and little kids love them and adults love them, and it really spans generations.
Because of the scale, and because of what Star Wars movies meant to me when I was a kid, you know, and kind of of the generation where I was about 5 or 6 when the first one came out, so they're more than just movies to me.
However, the difference with this Star Wars is it's been, you know, it's part of a body of work that's been conceived many years ago, and 3 films were made 17, 18, almost 20 years ago. So that road work has been already established, you know. And it's kind of become mythic already, you know, that we're stepping into shoes in order to be another piece of this jigsaw puzzle that is Star Wars, you know.
Thanks for watching this edition of Behind the Scenes. Tune in next time for Julia Roberts.